All right, here we are, my friends. We are doing it. Let me set up real quick. 27, and it is with Dusty Haze from Houston, Texas, and it goes something like this. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that wherever you are is doing good for you, my friends. It is me, it's Paul Carpenter. This is episode 27. We've got Dusty Haze coming in, and man, we have done it well this time, I tell you. The show, pop in the guest, make it happen. This is it. Dusty's being added in. I'm excited to have him today. We're going to have an awesome episode. Dusty is a musician out of Houston, Texas. He has just recently won the SLM Best Rapper Award, which is what does SLM stand for? I know Tony's the one who does that, right?
That's the Support Local Music Awards.
Support local music, and it's Tony who runs it. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's Mr. Don Tino.
Tino, that's who I'm thinking about. Yeah, Don Tino. Okay, awesome. So, my friend, Dusty Haze, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming. I truly appreciate you. If you wouldn't mind, who are you? Where do you come from? What do you do? Fill us in, man.
It is your boy Dusty Haze from out here in Houston, Texas. I've been around San Antonio, Louisiana, pretty much the dirty South is what I call home.
Nice. And so, like, let's see. So, where were you born? Where, exactly?
Well, I was born in Houston, but my family moved around a lot. So by the age of about 2 to 3, I was out in Leesville, Louisiana. Spent probably about till 10 moving around there. Moved back out to Houston. From there, it was San Antonio, a little bit of Florida, a little bit of moving around, back to Houston. Of
Right.
course, where I am now.
And when did you start the music aspect of you? Like, when did you start learning how to, like, you? Because I know you said in your bio that you've been writing ideas and things, but you haven't really progressively made a ton of music until just recently. So, when did you start?
Well, see, that's the crazy part is I've always had worlds up here. You know what I mean? Like I was a very disassociative kid.
Mm-hmm.
So what that ended up doing is I got everything from like I got a full video game 3 title ready to go. I've always created these alternate versions, I guess you could say,
Sure.
to escapism at its finest. But it wasn't until this last year, like I've been writing music since I was about 10, but this last year I got, I got clean and sober about 3 years ago, and this last year I really buckled down and really started putting in work, connecting with people, and then people was like, "Oh, by the way, this thing you've been doing to escape reality your whole life, you can make money off of it." I was like, "No shit."
That's great. That's great. So when you say escape reality, you used your um, I guess you call it musicality. You didn't know that maybe that's what it was, but you were using your music as a way of escaping, as well as using drugs to escape.
It's not just music. I got an issue with patterns, repetitive things. They, I think it's part of I got adult autism, so patterns are big for me. So music and patterns, the mathematics of it all just kind of run through and through.
And so that's what that it's like, almost like a it's not even something that you can control. It's almost like an internal urge that just comes out. It's just the thing.
Yeah, it's literally, I try to compare it. You ever seen something that's turned the wrong way and you just staring at it like, oh man, I really wish I could correct that. That's what a song is for me. It's like this feeling I get, and then it just irks me to the point where it just comes out. People ask me how I do it. I have no idea.
Right, right. Like it's just like you. No, I think I understand that feeling. A lot with what I'm doing now with this is a much of that same kind of thing. It's like I've always had this feeling of wanting to get something out, you know, like it needs to get out. I need to like, and I can't explain what that is, and I never really care how it comes out as long as it just comes out. And this is an effort in having that come out. You know what I mean?
I feel
By getting to talk and learn from other people, because it's, dude. I was talking to somebody last night. I was like, but you have no idea how much I've learned about humanity in the last 26 days. It has been some like eye-opening, weird experience that I'm having, which is like I'm getting to know the writer of the story, of their own story, by getting to just hang out on a phone call and ask simple questions like, yo, where were you born? And why did you do this? You know? So it's really cool. It's like a very cool, fun experience. So when was your like first like real piece of music where you could say from beginning to end you were the creator, if you will, and then maybe you went to a producer later and you said, hey, make this better or make these beats or whatever. But what was the first song that you think is like, I made this one and I know it's mine?
See, that's the funny part because there's no producers, there's no none of that. My very first song that I have up here because memory's crap for me, but the very first song I can remember doing through and through, it was the crappiest song. I don't have the song anymore. I wrote it when I was about 10 or 11, and you remember ISS?
I
The
said,
in-school
well, in-school
suspension?
suspension, bro. I did half a year.
I
I
remember.
did half a year of in-school suspension once. I was
Jeez.
such a bad, yeah, I was such a bad kid. They made me do ISS in school. Like, you know how you like, it's like those little a room with like 10 other people, and they're all horrible human beings that do horrible things at school because they don't want to be there.
Most
Um,
of them are bad kids. They're just too hyper for class.
More
Uh,
times than not, yeah, more times than not.
but as far as the first song I ever wrote, it was a really crappy one about a blue parrot, the state of Texas,
Oh
and
my God.
driving down a long road.
But you do remember this song.
I do remember portions of this song.
Oh man, I would hope and wish to pray and everything there is that you would rewrite that song today as an adult, dude.
Probably not. That was a pretty bad one.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. You make it better, you know? Like I heard this comedian say the other day when he was talking about this fight that Joe Rogan had with Carlos Mencia, I think is who it was, and he was known for stealing jokes.
Everybody, too.
Oh, for sure, sir.
Okay.
And
Sorry about that.
no, you're fine, please. It's so cool that we're having like an interview while you're at work. It's great. So,
That actually sucks.
oh, hold on. I gotta get my dog. He's freaking out. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you're good. Good. I got mad love for Moose.
All right. I'm back. I'm back. All right. Sorry about that. And I also heard the microwave was doing like a beep every couple minutes because I had made coffee. I don't know what I did with it. I think it's still in there.
Story
But
about
anyway,
that.
yeah, right. Yeah. Damn it! Why don't I have a production team? But yeah, like I was saying, so this comedian said something to the effect of, "A joke is never finished," and and I can hear like the same thing as like a painting is never done or a song is never really finished because there's always like a piece of that that you want to, oh, I could have done this better in that song, or I could have done this. You know, you always want to like when you, especially when you hear a track that you've written, like I know I did when I was younger and I had songs and I listen to them now, I'm like, oh, we could have done this so much better, or we could have done this, you know, and you want to always make it better.
No lie, I guarantee with what's going on up in here, I guarantee no one will ever hear a finished piece from me. Like, like for example, people hear the song Jameson, just such a simple song, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good song. Oh, you got good melody. Oh, this, and that." That song is supposed to, right off the top of my head, have at least six more instruments. Like what I hear up here is not what y'all hear as a finished product. It's just what I can get done with the resources I have.
Right.
Like,
But that leads me to saying, so that's what I was saying. So this song that you wrote, the first one that obviously you don't have recorded, what's the first song that you have recorded that you did, you did everything yourself, like you say, but would you want to take that to somebody who has the resources, a producer or somebody who could bring in the other instruments or whatever? Wouldn't you want that? Or do you want that maybe later?
the first song I ever recorded, I wouldn't mind going back over. The very first song, I actually didn't start doing this with a producer professionally. A
Mhm.
lot of people think I just showed up a year ago on Union Tavern stage, but there were small things that added up to it before then.
Of
A lot
course.
of people don't know this. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was in a sober living when I was first getting sober, getting my life straight. When I was there, I was introduced to a cat named Alex, who was my sponsor for a little while, but then we ended up just being better friends than we were a sponsee and sponsor. He was the first guy that I had ever met that produced his own music. And we wrote a song called Distant. It was Distant Relative or something, but it reflected on the idea of loving yourself like a lost family member. And through the entire process of getting sober, it spoke alternately throughout the song on the user and the person suffering from the addiction itself.
Mhm.
So it spoke of, I'm gonna keep getting high, I'm gonna keep doing this, but it also spoke on the internal struggle of help me, I can't stop doing this. Ended up literally, it fucks me up to this day because it caused multiple relapses. Just the release of that song, it made people reflect a little bit too deeply
Mm.
way and never put it anywhere after that. I think it's on my band lab. It never left there.
And you feel responsible on some level because you made this music. Is that what you're saying? That you feel like other people relapse because they heard this song, or you relapse because you heard this song?
No, I think grown people gonna do what grown people do. I just think it was a bit too much of a raw format. I'm trying to help people work through their stuff healthily, not make
Mhm.
them so much it just U-turns.
Right. Like, yeah, you put on too much pressure and then the rubber band snaps and it goes the other direction.
Yeah, yeah, there's such thing as too much of a good message.
Right. I hear you. I hear you. So like have you worked with a producer? Have you worked with somebody in a studio and like actually gotten to do that now as your because I think you said you've done how many songs over how many different genres?
Just this last year alone, it's over 400 originals written across 15 genres. Just in this last year alone. The issue with that is money. Everybody likes money.
Sure.
Uh, I've been trying to find a guy that'll jump on the whole project for a percentage, but that's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Well, I mean, the only people that I can think of in Houston, which I'm sure you already know these people, but Alex Trujillo is one of the people that I think is I don't know if you know Alex. Do you know Alex Trujillo?
Talk about Fat Donkey.
No, that's Alex. Oh man, what's Alex? The other Alex's last name? Man, I'm gonna tag Alex Trujillo. Alex Trujillo was a rapper. And then you're talking about Alex Arouse. I'm talking about Alex Trujillo. Alex Trujillo even has his own radio station at one point, and it was like one of these internet radio stations where he's just playing music, but he was also playing a lot of his own content. He has a band called Papi Sancho. No,
Ah,
that
I know about Papi
is it.
Sancho. Yeah.
Papi Sancho? I think it's Papi Sancho. It might be. I think Alex Trujillo is Papi Sancho. Um, I'm not sure. I don't want to get that wrong. And but nonetheless, he has a studio in his home. He's a phenomenal producer. And then the other person that I think of is Marcus, Money Marcus. Let me tag him as well. Hold on, Marcus.
Let's see what's up with Alex, but Marcus,
Marcus
I don't think his name.
Marcus Simpson. Marcus Simpson is his name. Producer, produces a ton of tracks for people in the Houston area. I shot a music video for him once at my friend Bill Wyatrek's house. And Bill Wyatrek has this crazy house that's all over the place, and tag Bill Wyatrek in the videos too. And I hope to have Bill on the show sometime and for him to show off his house. Like he has an Airbnb, and he made each one of his rooms into like a crazy country. Like one's Africa, one's China, one's Egypt. Super dope, bro. And his backyard's a tiki garden with tiki heads, like the Moai heads, the big ones. It's full on, dude. It's like living in a Disneyland. It's great.
That's
yeah, it's cool. So that then leads to like, yeah. So hopefully one of those two people will at least lead you in the right direction to where you can possibly go. I know both of them are in the Clear Lake area, so you never know, if they see it.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Get it.
That's what I notice people don't really care for on my side, as I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, I see nothing wrong with it. Like the thing that I always talk about is the story of Prince. When he wanted to make his first album, he didn't have any money. He went to a friend of his that was a producer, and he said, "How much for a full album?" The guy's like, "Yeah, $30,000-$50,000." He's like, "Oh my God, that's a lot of money." He goes, do you need a person in your office to run coffees and clean the floors and shit? Just clean and shit. I'll be that person, and then when you're done, I'll come in and record if that's okay with you. And they said,
yes.
Huh?
It is. I said, that's the craziest part. Don't get me wrong. I put money in this, and the people around me have put money in this. But I think I've accomplished more with just physical labor than anything else. Showing up.
Right, yeah. Showing up is everything.
Plumbing, all that random shit gets you so much further.
Yeah, you're right. It's true. What about Leslie Jackson? You know Leslie, don't you?
I got mad love for Les.
Man, so I'll tag Leslie. He's a producer at times. He produces stuff, and he's done stuff with what's this guy's name? He was doing tracks with him there for a minute.
Cooley.
Yeah, dude.
Cooley Booley's got some mad fucking tracks, dude.
Bro, and let me tell you, I remember the day that they started hanging out, or like right around the time that they and I was there, man, and I was like, bro, these guys are gonna fucking do something, man. Like, I'm trying to find him.
Hey, shout out to Les. At the risk of him seeing this, a lot of people don't know this, but let's be behind the scenes,
bro.
Like on people's phones, like straight mentor type shit. Tell it from wrong, calling people out. Like there's been a number of times where I got young and dumb and was like, "Oh, they did this like this. It's not fair." And he's like, "You got to suck it up, young blood. That's part of the business."
Yep.
Like he's on some real mentor type shit behind the scenes.
He's a badass dude. Like. I remember the first day I met him, and I already tagged him, but I remember the first day I met him, I was doing magic for free, mind you, at an event because I was invited to that event by Joe Serrato. Shout out to Joe Serrato in disguise, and I'll tag Joe in this as well. But I was there, just walking around doing magic. And week or so prior, Joe had performed at some location and some guy lost something and he blamed me, right? Now, mind you, my friend, I'm not the guy who steals. I just don't have it in me, especially not something as stupid as like an iPad or something that I don't need. You know what I mean? In my life, I'm a minimalist at its finest. And so, anyways, this guy starts putting out this thing around that says, "Oh, this guy stole something from me," and I have no issue with being a man whatsoever. Right? So this guy shows up to the party, and someone says, "Hey, dude, this guy's here at the party. He's really pissed off at you." And I was like, "Where is he?" So I have a deck of cards in my hand. I just finished performing some kids. And I deck of cards in my hand. I just walk up to him and I'm like, "Yo, dude, I hear you telling people that you think I stole something from you, and I'd like to know what you think that is, or when, or how. And I'm right here. What's up?" He's like, "I don't want a magic trick from you." And I looked down at my cards. I was like, "Oh, you're not going to get one of those." And then all of a sudden, his friend comes in. He's like, "What the fuck, blah, blah, blah." And he slaps my cards and just throws them to the ground, right? And I just looked down, and then I looked back up, and I was like, "Yeah, why'd you do that, bro?" Like, I'm just such a little kid in my head, right? I'm like, I don't want to fight. I have no reason to get angry here because I didn't do anything wrong, right? If I were to get angry and get upset and be like, "Ah, fuck you," then maybe I have something to hide at that point. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I go through this whole entire experience. I go to pick up the cards, and the first person that's up to me is like, "Yo, is this guy fucking with you?" This towering monster of a man, I'm like, "Nah, bro, he's cool, bro." And he's like, "Yo, anybody fucks with you, they fuck with me." I'm like, "That motherfucker's dope." You know what I mean? Like, that motherfucker dope. Like, that guy ain't letting any stupid shit play around him. And that's exactly what you're saying, Like, he's always straight. He's straight with people. He's straight with him. He's trying to be as straight as he can with himself and the world around him. You know what I mean? And
That's all in this day and age is a little bit of honesty and respect.
that's it, dude. It's not a matter of like being, "I'm bigger and tougher than you, and so you have to follow what I say," because it's rare, if ever, that I've ever seen him raise his voice, let alone put a hand on anyone. And so
Yeah.
that
How you
is
know
that.
you're dealing with a warrior, or what do they say, a warrior in a garden? Because that's the type of person that you only utilize them skill sets. You know you got them, but I mean it only matters because you know you got them, and you don't use them unless you need them.
And you don't use them even when you do need them. Even at that point, you're trying to do your least amount of usage of the form. Because that's the whole concept of the form, right? Is that when you learn self-defense, it's about being defensive, not offensive. And
Yeah, I
you
think
know
words have more to do with that too. I think
what's
people
that?
need to get that. I,
What's
I
that?
said I think words work the same way. Don't think enough people realize that.
Yeah. I mean, they do. I think they do and they don't on some level, right? Like, there is this aspect of recognizing that uh, whatever somebody else says to me shouldn't necessarily affect me. Like, it shouldn't necessarily affect me. I can, on the other hand, like, stay stuck on what they say, and then it affects me, but they're not thinking about it anymore. They don't think about me after they're like, "Hey, you fucking blah, 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 blah," and then I'm like, "Oh, that's right, I'm a blah, 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 blah," all day long. Dude, they're already doing drugs with their friends, or going to play pool, or at their job, or with their girlfriend or boyfriend. They don't care, dude. They're the last thought that's in their head. And 20 years later, you're still over here like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." So, on
Fully
some level,
a chunk
on
change.
some on some level, there is that idea of like being kind of like a turtle, and letting that be like water on your back. It's just like, what? I'm a fish, bro. I swim through this. Like, I swim through your stupidity. Like, stupidity is what I swim through, like, on a daily.
I don't even know if it's stupidity, in my opinion.
Well, it's ignorance, because
Because
ignorance is the place of somebody coming to you. Stupidity, ignorance.
ignorance is not the what do they say? Ignorance is not the presence of stupidity, but the lack of presence in education.
Okay,
So,
fair
with
enough.
the world we live in, with the sheer amount of propaganda pushed to us to practice a level of ignorance that has become common of today, I mean, me being who I am, I don't think I'm smarter, dumber, or better, or worse. I just happen to want to live my life a certain way that doesn't quite line up with the social standard.
Right, right,
I like
right.
to educate. I love knowledge. You can call it one of my own addictions. I like to
No,
learn.
no,
Not
no.
every
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to those who are non-knowledgeable when I say stupid. I was just being facetious. But yes, we're also in the same world that pushes a propaganda of, call it stupidity, right? On some level, there is also the Library of Alexandria at your fingertips for anything that you want to learn, anything that you want to do, and anything that you want to propagate at this point. I mean, you can create almost anything with 2 or 3 different large language models, like like AIs, the pictures, and it's free. So it's not like you have to pay for anything. You can make amazing pictures and images and sounds. I just
in
worked on
that
a political. I worked on a political campaign recently where we used an AI model where we copied a politician's voice to send out voice recorded messages that sound like it's from that politician because they don't
we're
want to
in
record. They don't even want to record anymore because they don't have to. Why record if, oh, you mean
that's
all I have to do is send you 5 clips of me, 30 seconds uninterrupted with nothing in the background, it's just me talking? And then you're going to use that, and that's going to be able to make me say whatever you want me to say as long as I agree to the copy? Go. Okay. Here you go. That's what we're saying. Yep, that sounds great. Here you go. This is what it sounds like. Yep, sounds like me. Good.
that's
Instead of,
wild.
sir, we'll meet you at the studio at 5 o'clock. No, sir, it didn't sound good. Can you record it again? Oh, no, we heard the ruffle in your clothing. No, can you do that again? For what? For what? They don't need to anymore. Now they could just, 2 seconds, write you the script. Here you go. Julia just wrote it for me. Here you go. Send it back as an audio clip. Mind blown, bro. And now they have other stuff, which is like you can do a whole entire character of the person. You give them pictures of every angle of video going around. That's all you need, and even less at times. And they'll give you an entire character that can talk to somebody and answer questions with facials, with all of this. Like,
See, I ain't quite there yet. I'm still trying to figure out media management. I can't even get my social medias in check.
yeah,
I
I
need
disagree. I think you do a great job with your social medias because I see you posting a lot. I see you constantly pushing the ideas and things. We've talked, you know that. I've sent you messages.
That's because I don't sleep.
Well, then you're doing it right. I don't know what to tell you, but it works. So that's the point, And then and like I told you, we've talked about ideas that I've said to you that I think you should do that are TikTok worthy ideas.
Yes, and I am working on that video side here pretty soon. That was mostly the digs. I know you know about the dig situation. I had to get in a better spot. Now I got some lighting up, got my stuff up on the walls. I got a good room that should be looking pretty camera worthy here pretty soon.
Cool. Yeah, man. Something, some stuff, just content. Content is king, dude. That's it. That's all you got to do is keep pushing that content. Then the people who vibe with your style and your vibe and your thing and your whatever, one video is going to pop. Blip. Have content ready for when you pop. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then go radio silent for like 2 or 3 weeks and create a ton of content and then come back.
See, That's the crazy part is these past 4 days I had off. I think I recorded 17 songs. I've got a huge backlog of content that I need to get ready.
Yeah. Like I've been thinking about all of the content that I've been creating over the last like 27 days now. Dude, there's so much content there that I could be making into short form content that could be turning into awesome short form little videos that are on YouTube and on this and on that and the other. And it's heavy, man. It's a lot of heavy work, you know? But there's also like AI that can do that for you as well for free. So we can also do that.
So I want to know, how do you, what is it, just educating yourself and research with the AI stuff? How you end up
Yeah.
learning?
So I mean, I've been heavy in the like crypto, NFT, learning how to use Blender, which is a 3D modeling.
And 4 p.m. ready.
Yes, sir. I'll have to get your change. Oh, yes, sir. Thank you. Sorry.
No, you're good. Dude. You're good. You're good.
Hey, y'all didn't know, y'all saw I was multi-genre. Y'all didn't know I was over here multi-profession too.
Listen, you got to keep it going. However, you can keep it going. And however the creator blesses you to have that thing go. Like I'm blessed right now to have a place that looks this cool in the background to be able to shoot, and all I have to do is kind of like mow the lawn, keep the house clean, take care of some pets. Basically, I'm just house sitting. So it's
Yeah,
like for me, it's like I'm blessed, bro. So blessed to have the people in my life. There's a woman in right now. Her name is Chris Spice Knight, and she has been an absolute blessing in my life. Everybody who comes on, everybody who watches, man, I'm telling you, this has been a very weird experience, but very awesome at the same time. Very, very cool to get to go through and put myself through.
yeah.
What's that?
That's I said it's all that work you've been putting in. That's what happened for me and a couple of the homies. It was just like a whole over a year of just working, 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 small win, bigger setback. And then it's like all in this last month, everything just bam, all at
Yeah,
once.
yeah. Critical mass. And that's the idea. That's the reason that I'm doing the way that I'm doing the show, right? And why I'm doing one podcast with one person and long form content and let's go. Because if I do 365 podcasts in 1 year, that's 365 people's name that my name is connected to, where they have long form content connected to me. Does that make sense?
365 hours, bud. You think
More,
about that too.
more than that, because it's some of them are 4 hours long.
Oh shit.
Some of them are like 2 hours. Most of them are an hour and a half. I mean, we've already been going for 34 minutes. Like it doesn't feel like much because we're just hanging out. And that's the point. Like at one point, an hour later, when we're about to close down, and you're like, oh, wow, I have been here for like 2 hours. You're like, whoa, this is intense because it's not a podcast. Like I'm not trying to make this a podcast, even though it is, and even though I ask you questions, and even though circle backs because I want to have a concise story for the whole entire thing, and I am keeping a flow. I'm trying to keep it very flowy, where I want you to be like, oh, this is cool. Like I'm just having a conversation with Paul on the phone. More so, it doesn't feel like a microphone in your face and the camera, and right? It's you at work. You're chilling. You're like, yeah, this is what I do. And da, da, da. We're just having a phone call conversation, and other people are getting to like sneak into our conversation, and that's what makes it sort of kind of more real. Because it's real. It's real lighting. It's real shitty sound. It's this is the podcast, like.
It's say old school is
But it's not trying to. It's not trying to like also emphasize that. It's also just saying this is it. Like, do I want to make it a bit better? kind of, but not really. I want to keep it very lo-fi. I want to, even if I'm like doing a live feed where I'm with someone, I want it to just be the camera, blip, and it's us two in the shot. That's it. No extras and da-ga-ga-das and ba-ba-da-boo. For what, you know? Like, let's make this the thing instead of all the other stuff around it that people are trying to make it out to be a podcast to be. And then, and then the other thing is I don't want to become elitist. Like I want like maybe one day to have like, I know this sounds crazy, but like a Barack Obama one day and then have Dusty Haze the next. Because why not? You know what I mean? So then that way you get like a full verse of the entire planet. Like, why not get the homeless guy in Times Square who talks like about, you know, birds are whatever, you know, like the birds are robots, like that crazy, you know, why not have that guy on?
Nah, I respect that. You never know what's gonna come out of somebody's mouth, for real.
You know, and that's it.
Real talk, that's what I try to explain to people. That's why I hear everybody out. People ask me sometimes, why you talk to so-and-so? You know they did this? I don't care. Because I'll tell you this much, I've heard the stupidest stuff come out of a genius's mouth, and I've heard a fool be wrong 99 times and be right that 100. Like, you never know, man. Just because they talk it don't mean you got to internalize it, but that don't mean you have to not listen either.
Yes. So here's the next question for you. Like so now that you're let's talk about, if you don't mind, if you don't mind, let's talk about sobriety. And Leslie Jackson just came in. He's like, "What's up?" And Leslie, we were talking about you, and we were talking about how we love you, and how you made it into the episode. And so we just tagged you. I was also tagging you because this young man right here is making music, and I was talking about people who produce and who are just badass, and you came up as a thought, as because I know that you did other music with Cooley Booley. Cooley Booley's is right? Is that it?
Mr. Cooley Booley.
Mr. Cooley Booley, that's right. I actually love the whole thing. The entire it's a thing, you know. And I was saying to him that I remember a couple of years ago when you and him were at your house, and I think it was like maybe the first or second time that you guys had actually hung out. And you started doing music together, and then a Cooley Booley just like kind of blew up, and it's a lot of like Leslie's heart and soul, and we were talking about how much you are connected in the community and how much you really give of yourself. So that's where it came from, and that's why you got tagged. Asher says, it's usually pretty cool to see you attend guests. It's an honor to interview with you. Oh, thank you so much, man. I love you, bro. Says Leslie Jackson says, yeah, and King Baby and Mixed Breed. So as you can see, Leslie.
I don't know Mixed Breed super well, but I heard good things. But King Baby Familia, man, that's a whole organization of good folks right there, for real.
For sure. King Baby, pretty hardcore, bro. That's another one, another Houston artist that has a whole like thing. You know, when I think artist, I think story, I think world, I think, you know, I think characters throughout time that they create that are like, look, when I think of an artist, I think Madonna, like for me, like, because it's a woman who throughout her entire career was ever changing with her looks, with her branding, with her thing, but it was always music, right? Or like a Lady Gaga, same kind of thing, super intense characters that she pulls out with her meat dress or with this or with that, you know what I mean? And so I feel like Cooley Booley has that super in there, you know. and so does King Baby with that whole idea, the whole look and the thing. It's just a thing. You know what I mean? Um,
You know, that's a crazy part because you bring up these groups and whatnot, and there's these major groups like for example, one that popped up recently but has been working on for years is On Brick Entertainment. Then you got Leslie and his crew, then you got King Baby familiar with theirs. You got all these groups of people that from what I can understand have basically said the system's not gonna work. It's damn near geared against us. The only way we're going to make anything of ourselves is if we band together. Now we got these 14, 15 groups really doing something. But I've noticed they like to compete with each other. That's the message that I'm trying to really change is now we got these 15 fully functioning groups, but they're not big enough to take the scene. If we pulled all our heads together, all our ideas, then we have a fully functioning community in which we can take our music community back and put it in the hands of the community in which created it.
yeah.
I think that that's where we need to be headed. But I'm young and dumb, so I got to put in the work to prove that I really mean it.
No, I think, I mean, granted, sure, I understand what you mean by young and dumb. There's an idealism to the ideas of what you're asking for, right? But at the same time, wow, there's a bunch of comments coming in here. Leslie says you're right. And Leslie also said, look, I've made tracks for all of them dudes. I also performed DJ for them as well. And Asher says, yes, community through unity. And yes, all of these things that we're talking about is the truth. I think it's recently, only recently, that we're starting to like have this more kind of like, we're all screwed, bro. So like now that we're all screwed, let's band together because this sucks, because it used to be maybe like, oh, this group is a little higher or more well known or this, that, the other, but it's not that anymore. At this point, it's like, I just saw this movie that was, it's called Dumb Money. It just came out. It's in the movie theaters now. And it's about the GameStop thing, the fiasco that happened with the stock. I don't know if you know about this. Do you know about how GameStop? Okay, so brief story is there was a guy who had a Reddit page. He made a gamble really on GameStop. It was like worth $2 when he bought it or something, and basically he starts promoting. He's like, listen, I think it's devalued. There's a lot of people that are shorting it, which means they think that the stock is going to fail. And all these people who go to GameStop and all these people who are just normal everyday people started buying the stock and inflating the price of the stock, which meant these people who were shorting the stock to make it lose were losing billions and billions of dollars daily. And this goes along with what you're saying with like how the system sucks and how the system's kind of against us on some level, because through the process of him doing this, some big banks and some big people changed the way you could do things on their app, and it screwed a lot of people. And then he had to go to the Supreme Court and have a whole thing and blah, blah, blah. Now, mind you, he made $34 million at the end of the whole thing legally and did the whole thing, and he wins. But to go from being this guy down here to getting even somewhere remotely in the line of people up here, he had to go through like thinking he was going to go to prison. He didn't do anything wrong. He did it the way he was supposed to do it legally. But he even says in the film, he goes, I learned that stocks, you can make money if you do the things the right way. I did things all the right way, but these people who have billions and trillions of dollars did everything in their power to me, so I couldn't get what I needed, or the people who also followed me and listened to my ideology, even though I didn't give them advice. It was just my ideas. And he, at the end, he wins, and so do all the other people that stayed with him and whatever else. But it's the challenge was the point. Like, there shouldn't have been a challenge there. The rules were already set in motion. They just didn't like the way that we had beaten the rules. Does that make sense? It's like Tom McDonald. Do you know Tom McDonald, the rapper, white rapper with dreads or whatever, or his cornrows? Yeah, man. Like, it's like him. It's like he didn't care. He just was like, I'm just going to make it, and get in. Leslie's coming in and jumping in. He says Houston is one of the hardest places to break out or get recognized outside of local into mainstream. So Cooley, as well as myself, have been doing business outside of H-Town, and it's working. I.e., I'm in a national beat battle league, and my music has gotten way further than local. Now, let me just say something here. I'm not, and I've said this many, many, many times, but I'm not trying to be hurtful or disrespectful towards the fourth largest city in the United States. But there's something desperately wrong in the fourth largest city in the United States when I go to a city like Miami, and granted, it's Miami, it's Florida, but it's a small city comparatively. And I look at Eventbrite, and it is people doing open mic nights. It's people doing art sales. It's people, and it's just all community. And granted, there's maybe a lot of people, an influx of tourists. We have a huge amount of tourism in Houston. There's a huge amount of tourism in Clear Lake for NASA. And we just don't allow it. Houston doesn't allow it.
I have a personal opinion on that I'm sure a lot of people won't be open to hearing, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I personally think that there's a lot of older cats that don't want to hop on the way things are done now. I see a good number of not just artists, not just bookers, not just venue owners, just the scene in general, not even just music, even business side of it. No one's using online. Online, internet, advertisement through online media and distribution is literally what, 80-90% of how we do distribution nowadays. There's no physical format anymore. So handing out physical flyers or mixtapes doesn't do anything further than old school gimmick.
Yeah.
Everything is online, and some of these long-standing venues, some of these artists that have been around for 20, 30 years have little to no footprint online whatsoever. How can you expect to reach 7 million people when your page only reaches 10,000? I'm just saying. No money.
And this is why I've had personal conversations with you in particular and said, "Hey, dude, start making short form content." Like
it's ground though, because the old school way of doing things really does have a lot of relevancy to it, especially to the business side of it. How you deal with people, the amount of respect you show individuals, but that has to be combined with the new technologies in place.
Right.
It's a middle ground between the old school and new school.
But listen, the old school grassroots techniques are what you're doing by making short form content videos. Those are the flyers of today. And then Leslie says, now on the other hand, my electronics, let me see, I can't read that. Hold on, my electronics DJ scene I'm heavily involved with is huge here. I just played at Wet and Wild Festival this weekend, and I got main stage spot open for a headliner. So club scene is big. So
that is one other thing. That is one other thing
I want to mention. It's not that the scene might be dead. It might be that the type of art that you're trying to create within that scene is not flourishing yet.
That's what I wanted to touch on too. Down here in Texas, my country, phenomenal. But I don't do my country online as much, and I don't focus on it as much because it's a majorly competitive market, it being in the South and so many other country artists. What I'm taking off majorly with is the hip hop. But that kind of hip hop, that boom bap style, that East Coast roots, that type of stuff doesn't sell as well down here. Mm-hmm. So I've actually seen my boy Les hook up with another good friend of mine, Mathematic Beats, and that man's all the way in Ohio. Mm-hmm. I've been networking through online radio groups because you go where your material's wanted. Right. That type of rap I do doesn't sell well down here, so I intermingle with people in states I ain't never been to. Because not only does that get you a better online foothold, get you more numbers, more distribution, but by the time you're ready to go on tour, you already have major connections in those cities where you can already book venues off of their knowledge. Cut them in on everybody's happy.
Yeah. Leslie Jackson says he's in my battle league. And I hear that. Yeah. So that's something I want to share with you and with Leslie as well, if Leslie stays on. There's this new method that was just put out by Google, and it's called the EAT method, EAT. And he says MJ
That's
England. He's in my battle.
yeah,
What's
that's
that?
mathematics. MJ England, that's mathematic beats.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
good
Okay. All
producer.
right. Yeah. So what I was saying is it's called the EAT method, and it stands for expertise, authority, and trust. So, and it all works under the Google house, if you will, which means, anything that's on YouTube, anything that's on Google Maps, so on and so forth. And so you have to create a blog, and and you have to put that on your website. And that blog post then has to become a press release that you spend money on. Now, if you can gather a bunch of people together, you can bulk press releases and buy it at much cheaper, like $45 a pop, instead of uh, 500 a pop, or for it's something really expensive, like stupid money. It's $100 for one press release, just one, and it's not in all markets. Whereas if you buy in bulk, you can do it for $45 a pop, and it goes into every market. Now, what does that do? It takes the press release that connects to the blog, that talks about your business and the expertise that it takes to create the thing that you do. And that could be anything from creating an event, creating a song, producing a song, how to set up for a venue, right? The ins and outs of being a professional musician, and what it's like to be on tour, and what it's like to be blah blah blah. So then that's a blog post, and you can easily go to ChatGPT and you take everything that you want your blog post to be, right? So today I need you to write me a blog post about the back ends of using my XJ1733 Jensen whatever, and my whatever sound design thing on your DJ equipment that you're using, when I'm connecting to a sound system that I've never been to before, and what I have to do to make that work, and how I use this cable and this cable. Write me a blog post. And instead of you having to spend an hour and a half, 2 hours trying to figure out what that's going to look like, let it write it for you, and then you copy it, paste it, look at it, fix what you don't like, and then you have a blog written, and then you go, look, take what I've written and make that into a press release that connects to my website that talks about this event that I'm about to be at next week. And then then the press release says, LMFJ, new DJ in town, who's going to be blah blah blah, is promoting the new event at da 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 da. And so that becomes the press release. When people click on the link, guess where it goes? To the blog. The blog talks about everything that happens at the event, or what happens when he has to work, and then also the event itself. So now you have the E, you have the A, and the T comes from people creating the Google reviews, and then giving you 4 and 5 star reviews, plus giving you pictures and giving you, you taking a picture with them or whatever. And how do you do that? Create a QR code, carry that QR code everywhere you are, that goes straight to your Google reviews. Take pictures with people. Be like, oh my God, will you do me a big favor? Yeah, here, use this real quick. Oh, cool. Send that photo to this. What is that? It's my Google. Oh my God, review me. Oh, I would love to. Right there on the spot. And so you start building this thing really quickly, to where when anybody starts looking up who the SLM winner was for Houston, boom, and then all of a sudden you're going to pop up at the top of that list, because you have the most connections to outside sources. Now, something I didn't mention, the authority part, the press release, that's what gets you onto all of the major websites. So AP Press, NBC, KHOU, anything that's in your area, plus anything that they can connect it to nationally. So what that does is it gets your website referenced 200 times from these major website sources, that's authority, right? And so doing that and getting a group of people to do a bunch of PR releases together, and then, oh, I'm going to do mine on Wednesday, you do yours on Tuesday, you do yours on this one, whatever, and you set it out like that, the whole community grows because nobody else is doing that. You see what I'm saying? And Leslie's like, I can't wait to use this for my album. Yeah, dude, Leslie, that plus short form videos that don't necessarily just go, oh, listen to my song, because that doesn't work. It has to be playful ways of getting to the song. So whatever you want that playful way to be, but it has to be a story. There has to be an arc. And the best I've seen, which is what I've shared with Cody, is fuck, man. A guy going into a studio and he plays all the roles himself. Like, he's the producer, he's the guy walking in, and he's also the guy, you know, interrupting the middle of the recording session. But somehow or another, all that happens, and that mixes down to the song that he's producing and promoting on whatever place. So that storyline he's done 100 times. He's very well known for it. If you just look up guy recording session carrot flute, I'm not kidding. Guy recording session carrot flute on TikTok.
I know how Google works, man. The specific word searches, bro. You gotta ask exactly the right way.
But if you look that up on TikTok, he pops up and he has hundreds and hundreds of videos. He's now on tour. He has collabs with other artists that have found him on TikTok, and it's all based on that. And nothing more than that. And he's just a guy in his house making videos with nothing more than just a tripod in one corner, shoots the video, then goes to another corner, shoots the other video, and then splices it all together and puts out a TikTok.
That's what it is, man. That's why we ain't famous yet. It's the tripod. It was always the tripod.
That's the one thing I was missing. You know,
I knew it.
It's really, listen, man, it's not hard. It's that, and then like finding an app on your phone that you can edit videos. And there's a couple I use. One of them's called, I think, Splice Cut or Final Cut. I don't think it's Final Cut Pro, but it's like it's super simple. I got a tripod. Yep, you're famous soon, buddy. You're famous soon. But yeah, literally, it's literally like like I did it with a friend of mine. I mention him all the time. The Metal Art Master is what we named it. And I showed him these videos. He's like, dude, this is great. Let's do this. And the first video we made, no problem. Oh, there he is. There's Jody. He's watching. She says, shout out Metal Art Master. I love you. We did a video, and it's him as the artist, and then him as a auctioneer kind of character with glasses and like super proper, and then him as a crazy bum off the street. And the crazy bum wants to buy the art piece, but the art collector doesn't think he has the money. And Jody just jumped in and says, no, it's called Shot Cut is the app. And it's super easy to use, super easy dynamic flow, like to where like what you're understanding, how the user interface is. Like, you just put the video in, you can easily cut the time, zoom in on the time to make it better cuts, and all of it. It's all there. The YouTube videos on how to do it if you don't know how, please, whatever, right? But the point is, you can shoot that video. All you need is 3 outfits, a camera, and 3, 2, 1 before it records, and play a role, you know? And Jody did an amazing job at it. And then somewhere in the middle of it, we were joking, and I said, oh, you need a catchphrase. And he goes, my name of the band, or name of the thing is Metal Art Master. And then I heard in my head, just like you do, like a band playing, and it was like, like kind of my head. And then all of a sudden, we put up the logo in the middle of the video, and it's like, he's the Metal Art Master. And I like super happy,
man. When the wheels start turning, it's a room full of silence with full theme music playing.
But yeah, so it became like a thing, and now every episode it has somewhere in the episode it has that he's metal art master, and it's funny and it works, and you know, um, and now he's got a little book. And he runs through there and he shows them to me. He's like, "Oh, I got a new idea, bro. We could do a jail sale where the guy's in a jail cell and the guard's trying to sell his art piece for him." I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, one could be a funeral. It could be like the guy's dead and he's selling the art. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, bro, there's characters. We can make characters for all these shows. I'm like, oh my God, I've created a monster. You know?
That's how it is, bro. I'll be telling people, just let me know if I'm too much. We're on like the 15th idea at this point. It's been 30 minutes, 45 minutes of talking. If you want to get on the phone, just holler.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, so yeah. So so what is it like, what's a project that you're working on now or like, are you doing live shows now? Like, what's the story? How are you playing the game?
Right now, honestly, I'm being kind of sneaky right now.
Okay.
First thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hit all the markets no one else is touching. Because if everyone's not doing something, that now becomes the popular thing to do, if that makes sense.
Sure, no.
Because it's the odd man out.
Yeah.
Like, for example, SLM Awards this year, everyone's going fancy dress suit like they always do. I ain't doing that. I got a little surprise for y'all. Because I might look weird, but best believe I'll be one of the most noticeable individuals in the room, which is half of the game. You know what I'm saying? As long as they're looking, then you're doing something right, as long as you're not pissing people off. You know, you got to be respectful. Not all publicity is bad publicity, but you do want them looking. There's that. We got another radio show with me and Smiley. Smiley's at work right now, so he wasn't able to get on this call. That's the other half of the DHP. But we do have another radio interview come Wednesday. But right now, honestly,
That's right. We're on with Jay Reckless pretty soon. Is that right? Yeah.
I don't want to put somebody else's name on someone else's material.
Oh, yeah, you can. Oh, yes, you can. Go check out Jay Reckless, another amazing, and he's amazing. Let me tell you something. He is full on hardcore, really, really pushing the dream, really pushing the art, sharing everybody out there. He was an absolute inspiration when I had him on. He really, honestly, he inspired me to go out, because we were talking about him doing reviews of restaurants through this podcast.
That's what happened. I don't even know him. This will be the first time working with him. I posted a local restaurant just trying to help the community. And he's like, "Time for a new review." And I was like, well, it's a golden opportunity. Put them together in the comments, and I'm like, "Oh, that's beautiful."
Yeah. So yeah, he's a badass, man, and the way that he remembers every single person. I mean, I guess I do it too, but I mean, the way that he's like, yeah, you got to go down to 8105, da 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 da. You know, this person's and I'm like,
at all, bro. I can't remember nobody's name. Bro, it's not just me. I got a homeboy I was doing music with for 6 months. We got pulled over one night, and he's like, you know, he was asking me for your name, man. And I was like, yeah, what'd you tell him? He's like, I don't know your real name. You're just Dusty. I was like, bro, we've been doing music for 6 months. You don't know my real name?
oh, that's so good. I mean, I only know you as Dusty, so you know, like, I don't know your real name.
That's the crazy part. You knew I met you before I started doing music out here, so that's the crazy part.
Right? That's true. Right?
What the hell you did with that cigarette?
Man, it's so crazy, man. I've done so much traveling, and I've met so many people in so many places, bro, and yet it's like, it's so intense to me, bro. Like, I think that's another reason why I think I want to do this, because there's like 6,000 some odd people that are either I know or following me that I've met that are following for that reason, right? Like, and it's weird. I may have met them once or just in a made a cigarette disappear. Whoa, you know, like just that one thing. And then they like have caught on and were like, yo, what is this guy doing? Where is he at today? Or like, you know, is he freaking out on the camera, or is, you know? And so, yeah, man, it's cool, bro. It's cool, man, you know, to have that kind of touch. It's a very cool thing, man. I love it. And this is hopefully my way of being able to share what that is, what it is. Because it's not that I'm doing anything, right? I mean, okay, I might do a card trick or I might do this or that, but it's really not that. I don't think that that's what it is. I think it goes back to trying to like know you more, right? You know what I mean? Like that's all it really is.
I think I know what you mean. Me personally, I'm not slow, and the fact that I'm what the community of today's social standard would consider a burnout. I'm not slow to that fact. So the way I see it is, if I'm a burnout by the social standard, might as well be the biggest, beautifulest burnout I can be. Might save a couple other people from being the same type of burnout.
Mm, mm.
That's the
I
way
mean, I like Phoenix from the ashes better. No offense. Like
I
let
can't.
them stay with the embers. Let them stay with the embers that they call a burnout, while you fly into the sky and glow brightly, and not even to need to have that ideology in your mind or your heart, because it comes from a distinctive different place instead, if that makes sense.
So I don't believe that. I just
Oh,
duality. I got my own reality I live in, but I also know how most people see the world around them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say I wouldn't even care to think about it. Like I've been thinking about a lot lately, like if I'm self-righteous, isn't that like a really, really, really good thing? That I'm righteous of myself. Like I care so much that I want to be as righteous as possible. When you look up the word, like it really means to care and to be the best you can be. So isn't being self-righteous like super good?
Mm, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not. I mean,
I'm asking.
experience. I just know what I think I'm supposed to be doing and
Now
fully recognize.
you can also think like, oh, that self-righteous prick, right? You can. That's where the first thought of the words go when I think of somebody saying to themselves, "Oh, he's like, oh, look at that guy. He's so self-righteous. Like he thinks so much of himself." But I think that there's something really beautiful in someone who is self-righteous, someone who really likes themselves a lot, someone who really cares about themselves a lot.
Are you meaning in general, or are you meaning in pertaining to me?
I think in general.
Oh,
I
okay.
think just in
I see.
general. I
I
think
was like,
self-righteous isn't like bad words, where some people will
I don't.
immediately take it to the bad place.
I don't think being self-righteous is a bad thing, as long as you're humble enough to recognize your own shortcomings at the same time.
That's it, you know? That's it. It's walk in benevolence, you know? Try and be the best you can be without stepping on too many things. Have you ever heard of the Jainists, the group? It's a religious faction that came out of, I believe, India. Could be wrong, but the Jainists, Janis, and they would walk around with brooms and sweep every step before they made a move, so that they wouldn't even hurt an insect in their life. Isn't that interesting? Crazy. Like, so that because they believed that no matter what you do, you're always going to harm something and you're always going to hurt something. So make it an effort in your life to go out of your way to not hurt anything. You know what I mean? Like to leave no imprint.
Yeah, that's the way. I guess I could say I'm lining up pretty well with that analogy. A lot of the practices in my life, my disciplines that I put on myself, is a lot to do with stoicism.
Mhm.
Um, I've seen what comfort and pleasure get me. It got me about 15 years of severe drug use, homelessness, the whole package. I'm focusing these days more on discipline, and that's what's given me the ability to sweep every step, so to speak.
No,
I'm
I mean,
still sitting on bugs, but it's you ever find yourself in a situation where a man could be a lion, but they're nothing more than a beetle because of their own choices? It's still a couple scenarios like that, but outside of that, it's nothing that can be helped.
yeah. Yeah, I've also recently seen something where somebody was challenged and and it goes. I'm gonna just say it. I was watching the Carlos Mencia Joe Rogan thing. If you don't know what it is, please go look it up. There's a video out there. There's a bunch of them. But recently, I saw a video where his best friend, who's also a comedian, had him on his podcast, and he's like, "Yo, dude, like, you do realize that they're angry at you because you did this?" And the guy's like, "Oh, I didn't do that." He's like, "Yeah, you kind of did that, and you kind of did it here, and you kind of did it here, and you kind of did it here." And at the end of the whole entire thing, when the guy was confronted with all of it right to his face, not in a horrible way, not yelling, but just being like, "Yo, dude, I'm your friend, bro. I've known you for like 20 years, bro, and I'm telling you now, like, they're right, you know." Even then, the guy was like, "Yeah, no, no, I didn't do that. Yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't do that." And at the end of it, he's like, "Yo, it's so crazy because it's like there's like really good people involved here, but nothing's gonna get fixed because nobody thinks they did anything wrong." And it's like,
That's when it's
and,
away.
and and that's the worst part here. Like that's the worst part here. Not the this or not the that, not the get that, but this right here now. This is the worst part. Is that you have these things and they just hang heavy, and they shouldn't hang heavy when they could be so collaborative and so beautiful and all the things that you're talking about. You know
See,
what
that's a big one into as of late when it comes to stuff like that is, and people think I'm jaded, people think I'm very stuck up when it comes to it, but it's not the case. When we come to an impasse in a conversation, meaning we both have different viewpoints and we are getting nowhere to find common ground, we need to leave. Plain and simple. I can respect your viewpoints. If we can't reach that mutual respect, then it's time to go.
Mhm.
Because what happens is either it escalates,
Mhm.
and now we're arguing for no reason, when we're both just passionate people, very, very much in tune with what we believe and care about, or one person gets too mad, hurts the other, and now we both walking around with baggage. That's a big one for me is if I can't find common ground with you, it's no disrespect to you. I got love for everyone I come in contact with, but I'll walk the other way because I won't be your burden any more than I'll let you be mine. Not when there's no common ground to be found, not when we can't progress.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I spent what, 10, 15 years trying to be Captain Saberho, not willing to let nobody go.
I tried that. I tried that recently in my life. It did not work. It did not work. Uh-uh.
Not at all.
I'll,
Then you got
I'll,
two people with a
it,
problem.
it did. It did quite the opposite. It did quite like we were talking about the rubber band that snaps and goes the other direction. Woo! Did it ever go? You know? And it was like my life was doing. I was doing okay. I was doing fine. I was making good money. I was not complaining about life. 4 or 5 years ago. I was, even 6, 7 years ago, I was doing great. That's fine. And then, I don't know, 2, 3 years ago, whatever. Whew, I was already sad. And then I just went like down this like rough. There wasn't even a. It was just a full like jump off the cliff full on. There's no water. There's nothing but like terrain of pain that I'm about to hit. Cactus and dry bed, and I landed hard, bro, hard. And it wasn't until like 4 or 5 weeks ago that I came out of that forest, out of that desert, if you will, of pain and trauma and holding. And I found somewhere inside of me what I'm going to call um, radical acceptance. Radical acceptance of myself. Like, I'm okay at my core. Like, I'm okay at my core. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not just okay, but I'm like a super gift. And like, it's not just me, but it's everybody. That's this thing that I'm talking about. And then that's the part that hits. Do you know what I mean? And as long as I can share that, then and I know what I'm doing, I'm doing the right thing. That's it. As long as I'm coming from that place when I'm talking or when I'm sharing, you can't, there's nothing you can do, dude. It's the most powerful, beautiful, awesome, pure, awe-inspiring place to come from, bro. I just want to be me. It's so good. And it's like, man, and everybody can do it. Everybody can radically accept themselves. Like, just be like, I'm super fucking cool. You know? Without being a dick. You know?
It's crazy, isn't it? The idea that you can just be you.
Huh?
It's a mind-blowing concept. You just I know what you mean, man.
Yeah, it really is. It's fun though. And being able to say like, I remember me as a kid and I'm still me. Like, I remember me as a kid and I'm still me, bro. Like, yeah, you know, like still me, bro. And like, no matter how old I get, I will always have that piece of me that I get to hold on to real deeply. And that's what I believe is the thing that people put in their pocket because they don't feel that they should share it with people because they're scared of sharing that thing. Like Leslie says it, I don't know how else to be but myself. And that's like ultimately true, right? Because we were talking about it earlier. Leslie's just a big kid who really cares about everybody on the field or at the playground. And he's the one who got beat up at one point or another. So I don't know what happened, but Leslie's like, you're not going to do that, okay? He's not going to beat you up, but he's big enough to beat you up. And he comes at you with like this, hey, man, don't do that. And you're like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't do that.
Hey, some people are like that though. I got a boy named Wesley. That's a lot like that. Dude's like 6'3" and built just as big around. Dude's a big boy. I ain't never heard a fly in his life. Badass dad with 2 jobs, 4 kids. He ain't never smoked pot. Ain't never done a lick of drugs.
Yeah.
Might have had some coffee. Ain't never had a cigarette. Most intimidating man you ever seen in your life walks up to you. Hey man, how you doing? You having a good day? It's just so soft spoken and shit.
So crazy, right?
He said,
But that goes,
beat up bullies.
doesn't that go back to doesn't that go up to what you were saying a minute ago? It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. You know?
Yep,
I think that's Sun Tzu Art of War, by the way, for those.
it is.
You know? Yeah, man. So, okay, so what's the project that you're working on now?
People gotta remember that not all gardeners ain't seen war. People be out here just poking the gardener in the side, not knowing that he's been to war his whole life.
And I think we just got into a remake of Karate Kid. It was the remake of Karate Kid with Um, oh God, what's his name? Phenomenal, like the best of the best martial artist from China. He's in all the comedy kung fu movies, bro. He's like the best of the best. What are you talking about? How am I forgetting his name right now?
I thought you were talking about Bow Wow. I was like,
No, no, it wasn't the little Bow Wow remake. It was the one that Will Smith's son made. He remade it, and it was called Karate Kid. Although there was no karate in the movie, it was all kung fu,
I don't think I've seen that one.
and it was a flop. It wasn't. It
Yeah.
didn't. It did good for him. He did great in the movie. Let's put that out there, because the kid's actually a phenomenally talented kid. Um, and I think he gets a lot of grief for just being the son of Will Smith. Of course, you know he's going to get that no matter what. That's hard to be the child of somebody who's super famous, huh?
Said, hell, look at Eminem's daughter, bro. She tried music for like what? How long before she literally got ridiculed into obscurity?
You know, but like, that's weird though. They're talking about ridiculed into obscurity. I've been watching. Oh God, what's this guy's name, man? I forgot his name now. William Johnson, the guy who takes the little short clips and he's always standing behind the comic books. Um, he's been doing videos of how like society is like canceling people over like really stupid stuff. Like for instance, there was a girl who was at the Beyonce concert, and at one point or another in the Beyonce concert, there's a song where she says like you got to be quiet or something like that, and the whole audience is supposed to just like, whoosh, you know. And this girl was filming on her phone, and I guess she's a little drunk and having fun or whatever, and silent, and she's like, I don't want to get down, or something like. She says something during the quiet part, and she puts it on TikTok, and it becomes a massive thing where they literally canceled her out of existence on the internet. Like all of her accounts have gone. They canceled her Twitter and her YouTube and her this and her that. And like just she went to her Instagram and had to make it private.
I don't know how I feel about cancel culture. I think it half exists and half don't.
Well, I mean,
And I know how
that's a real thing, you know.
I think it really exists if you allow it to. Because I think part of it is, oh my God, they're going to cancel me. Let me respond and make it an actual thing by giving an apology video and this and this and that. And then you're engaging that negativity. Now you've brought more of it on yourself. Versus
So,
you see
you
artists.
don't believe in spin doctors. You don't believe in the spin doctor.
The same thing happen with other artists, and they're just like, cancel me. I don't give a damn. And then have no problem. They take a bit of a pay cut for a few months, and then their numbers are right back up. Don't entertain the bullshit. You're allowing other people to dictate what you do with your platform. You ain't out here being racist. You ain't out here talking crap or pushing people down. So why? People are going to talk either way.
Yeah.
But that's my personal opinion.
No, I think you're 1,000% absolutely on the ball about it, right? Like there's artists out there that for years have tried to become an artist and be recognized for their art, and then they put on a character and then their art goes through the roof, and then they're like, that makes no sense. You know, like how is it that this is the thing that took off out of all the things that I was doing? You mean it was this the thing that took off? That sucks. You know, because there's another thing to that, which is
That's
like
just a bag in disguise, though.
What's that?
That's just a bag in disguise. If I've been doing rap this whole time and then I make a reggae song and that's what blows up, then that just means that I need to do more of that. That's my commercial setting. Two, I still need to do my rap on the side because that's my roots. So you still need to handle your roots, stay in touch with your, but obviously it's marketable. Don't see it as a setback.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but I think that, and I think a lot of people hear what I say when I say this is like life takes over, and then so like what happens is like Yeah, you did that commercial success. Yeah, that song did well. Yes, you worked hard. You were in the studio. Da, 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 da. You made another 3, 4, 5 tracks. That hits hard. All of a sudden, you're on tour. Now you're touring nonstop for the last year and a half, 2 years. You haven't had time to even think about rap. You're doing reggae, bro, and you're now the reggae guy. It's almost Matis Yahoo. Think about Matis Yahoo's life.
Maybe that's one of my weird brain things because it's like I don't know. I write more the more stuff's going on. It seems like for example, these last 4 days in a row that I had off, I just recorded backlog material. I only wrote one new song. But if you give me a work week where I work 70 something hours and it's 5 days straight, I'll write 6 songs that week. That little bit of sleep deprivation, that little bit of like hectic energy feeds directly into my process for some reason.
No, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I want to really quickly. I just want to really come in here. I want to say thank you to Sci-Fly. He just threw out 99 stars at me. Thank you so much. It's like I thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very appreciative. It's weird, but I really like it. Thank you. I mean, it's like I don't know, man. I've been doing this for so many years that that there's like a track that's in my head that tells me it won't work, it won't work, it won't work, right? But then there's this other track in my head that's like, yo, it's working. Can you not see it working? Like, look, people are coming. Look, people are doing it. Look, you have a whole entire week now already set up with people who want to do it. And they're actually like, I'm starting to get like names. Like one of my guests coming up is a guy who's had 3 of his own television specials. He's had his own show in Vegas. So it's very cool. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting
a word for that. It's imposter syndrome.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it comes from that because on some level I do feel like even though I've been trying to create podcasts since I was 28 years old, so almost 20 years straight, you can look up On the Road, In the Waves, Blog Talk Radio, and there's podcasts of me from 20 years ago at a coffee shop that was on Bay Area Boulevard in Space Center.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, like, I've been trying to do this thing.
But that's what I be trying to tell people. Like, a big portion of this, like, because you're right, things be going and going and going and going, and it gets hectic. It's 24/7, especially if you're doing it right. And I get that same mentality. Oh, I've been doing this music stuff my whole life. I've just been told to shut it. I don't understand. How's it all of a sudden lucrative? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, one, you ain't been around the right people. Secondly, or else it would have taken off already. Secondly, a huge thing for me is trying to find 5-10 minutes and looking back through my Facebook, looking back through my catalog, all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Looking back at the actual accomplishments versus what I was doing a year ago. Like this year, I've had more radio interviews online and all that type of stuff than I have in any of it. I mean, I've only been doing it professionally over a little over a year, but next year I'll be comparing that year to this year, Because what I've noticed in them 5-10 minutes that I take to calm myself and just get a little peace is we have not gone backwards. Not once. There may have been social hookups here. There may have been a gig that we booked that didn't quite go through how we thought it was. But in the grand scheme of comparing accolade to accolade up until this day, we have not gone backwards a single time. So no matter what this tells me up here, I'm just stubborn and just dumb enough to look at the actual facts in front of me and realize, hey, it doesn't matter how self-doubt comes into play. It don't matter what people say around me because they can't see what I see.
Right.
They don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see the small conversations, the small Facebook comments and linking up with each other. They don't see any of that. All they see is a Facebook video when the show's over.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep at it.
Yeah, 100%. So that was my question a little while ago. I asked two of them, and so I was going to ask about sobriety, and if you wanted to share that, like, what was the journey for you to get to that place? Because maybe someone wants to hear that, or or what was the thing that helped you get to that place? If
I
you
would
want to talk, if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. Obviously, it's not.
No, this is a huge honesty thing for me for two reasons. One, it's good for me to talk about it, and two, it keeps the haters from having fresh material. As if you out yourself, you can't get out of it.
So good.
Comes to that, about 4 or 5 years ago, like I said, I was in a sober living, getting my life straight. I don't know if they got in my head saying, "Oh, it's your first time, you're gonna relapse," or if it was my bad decision, maybe a mix of both. I ended up, I didn't get my life fully straight until about 3 or 4 years ago, because the year after I left that sober living, me and my children's mother were homeless for quite a bit of time out of our truck.
Hmm.
The day that she found out she was pregnant with our first little girl, she quit smoking cigarettes, quit drinking, everything right there, like that. Me, I was stupid. There ain't a better word for it. Young and stupid. So it took me longer, and once I had cleared my head up enough to realize what I had lost and what I had done, that was it. Now I have two little girls with their mother. Nothing against her. She's a good woman. She takes damn good care of our kids. And that's an end game for me. It's not just about doing music, although I do like helping people. It's not just about getting rich, although money is nice. Money's just a tool to get me what I need to where even if I don't see my kids until they're 18, because I know that's not my choice at this point in time, imagine your children being able to learn about Greece or Italy, not out of a textbook that was printed in the 80s, but actually going, learning the language firsthand. Like, I want generational wealth, generational education for my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren. Because the three generations that came before me, as much as I love my ancestors, it was a whole bunch of drug addiction, alcoholism, and bad choices. Three generations and no economics. Like, where's that come from? It comes from one guy saying it's enough. Real shit.
Right. Yeah, I think that that's weirdly that's a thing that's coming soon. I think a lot of the stuff that's coming is going to be a bit hard to swallow for a lot of people. Um, and yet at the same time, I also feel like it's going to be a renaissance for humanity in which we don't have to work to be able to create. And we can be able to create from the place of really wanting to do something righteous and real. I think that that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. There's going to be a lot of turmoil in the meantime, but that is something that I see happening. I see us finally figuring it out because the AI brings it to our attention in such a way that we go, oh, well, kind of right. Can't do anything about it. AI kind of took over. I guess we have to. I guess we have to be nice to each other. I mean, on some level, uh, because once you tear down all of the veils of lies that are around us for why we're in war with Ukraine in the first place, or why Venezuela doesn't have an economy, or why this, that, or the other. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, dog. I gotta take you on the move for a second.
You're good, no worries. Um, if you want, you can mute yourself or whatever. And I just whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. Uh, if you have to, talk to someone. But yeah, I think that that's part of it, though. That if we were to take away all of those quote unquote lies, um, you would see that we're all struggling quite difficultly to just even have a day, um, and it's based on a very small amount of people living super comfortably. And the rest of us living in a mindset unaware that we're living in that mindset, thinking that it's the only way to survive. Like my friend who was on yesterday, Andrew, was like, everything changed for me when I figured out I had my own economy and I could go anywhere and make my own money anywhere. And that was just making caricatures, like literally on the side of the street with a sign, during a festival or here or there or whatever. And he was able to have more than enough money to be able to live and travel. And he found a way to have a home and a kid. And he's been in New Orleans for 20 years. But the point was, it's a mindset in which we think we have to work hourly to keep our residence or our home or our whatever, because they don't feel that we're going to be able to, we don't feel we're going to be able to do it because we're not making quote unquote money from some place instead of like from our own creation, which seems very hard to do. And it is. I'm not saying that it's easy to like go to flea markets every weekend and pack everything in a car and drive to the place and come back. And some weekends make no money and other weekends make $10,000 and other weekends. I get it. But
see, that's what I be trying to tell people too, is they don't understand about things like residencies and things of that sort. Even if I just break even with the music scene stuff, even if I'm just in with, your average level of connections, I'll still be making money on par with most trades. $3,000-4,000 a month with a couple of residencies sprinkled in there, if you were actually doing something lucrative, you'll be making on par what you'd be making working in some plants, entry and mid-level positions. So it's no different. When I'm doing out here, people are like, oh man, you look so tired. Oh man, why do you play 3 shows and work 39 hours all in 3 or 4 days? Because I'm working trade school right now. That's what this is. On hands trade school. Here
yeah,
in about 2
I'm,
or
a,
3 years,
I'm
I'll
an
be working
apprentice.
full position.
An apprentice to the system. Yeah, and that's what you have to be. And that's why I always go back to that story that I was talking about with Prince, where he was like, I'm willing to do anything. I'll run coffee. I'll sweep the floor and clean the bathroom. Let me just record after hours when nobody's here anyways. And it's that mentality, that approach that allows you to get to do that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so from there, you're what are you working on as far as like project? Oh, well, you said you were kind of being quiet about it. You didn't want to talk too much about the new stuff that you have coming to.
Yes. One, on the technical side, we really need to knock out online distribution. That comes next. We have 3 or 4 songs that are ready to be uploaded, but I mean, no point in uploading if you're not going to get rights to your own material. So we got to get online distribution. We already have live distribution, physical distribution, and writers' rights taken care of through ASCAP. On the actual entertainment side of things, all I can say is be ready for SLM. That's all
Nice.
I
It's gonna be
can
fun.
say.
I'm
Ready for
excited.
SLM, baby. These SLM awards are gonna be fucking crazy for the DHP, man.
That's great. That's
All
great.
I can say. Sorry.
No, that's great. That's great. I love it. Don't worry about it. I'll take it. So is there anything else you want to like maybe talk about or share, or maybe something that has nothing to do with your music? Maybe you want to talk about, I don't know, political issues or this, that, or the other. I don't know, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Even if you don't have to. Just something, anything.
I think the only other 2 things that I genuinely need to talk about is one, shout out to Winners Bar and Grill. It's a spot that if anyone knows where Fusions used to be, it's right out here in Pasadena. It's a new place now. It's called Winners. They have been doing some really big things, bringing in some decently sized national acts and really helping out the little guy coming up.
Nice.
I mean, they usually don't even do shows for less than a couple $100 to play there, and they got me and Mr. Cody Never Done He was taking care of that job. I missed out. I was at my day job that day, but they got us in there fixing toilets to make sure we can get on gigs. Like they really, really been throwing a bone to the small guy.
Nice.
The other thing I'll say is, oh, I'm really gonna brain fart like that.
I did
Uh,
it.
uh,
I did it earlier. Don't worry about it. Happens.
oh, I remember what it was. Super, super important. Has nothing to do with the music or pretty much anything I do. I just real recognize real. Anyone that gets on here and sees this, you yourself, Mr. Paul, y'all gotta check out a fella named Dash Gordon.
Dash
Uh,
Gordon.
Dash
Tag
Gordon.
it
A little
in the
over,
comments, man, if you can.
I got you. A little over a year ago, Mr. Dash was door dashing, and from what I understand, he made his way out to one of his drops offs, and one of the kids on, I believe they had Down syndrome, was having a field day because Mr. Dash had some the Flash from DC Comics, and dude, from what I understand, dude thought he was the Flash. Wheels get to turning. In comes Mr. Dash Gordon onto the scene, a door dasher that is fully or the Flash themed, but has changed it up enough to where he's his own gimmick and became a local superhero for autistic kids and kids on the spectrum. He is now, as of today, he is doing everything from connecting needy families to churches to headwaying completely new uh, dances, events, all kinds of stuff to raise autism awareness and try to get funding to families that struggle with family members that have autism or Down syndrome and things of that sort. So just shout out to him, man. That dude's out here being a literal superhero. Oh no, I don't got sound. Uh,
Yeah, you got it? You got it?
I got you back.
Yeah, no, I had turned off my microphone because I could hear that it was looping and I didn't want it to loop for everybody else. But basically, yeah, I was saying, that kind of thing happens where somebody calls you in the middle of the show and ruins it.
No, what's crazy is that someone was just on this show. So that's kind of crazy. They knew better.
No names, no names. Nonetheless, um, yeah. What's funny is that when people call me and it happens, it cuts my sound out, and then I can't hear anything, and then I'm just like, because I'm trying to
That's
hear.
what happened to me for a second. You was talking. I was like, no, I'm clicking the mic button. It's not working.
So, Dusty, if you wouldn't mind, share where people can find you, where people can like look you up and all that. You don't have to post it in. I mean, like just like vote. I've already posted it in the comments in the section for this episode. I'll do it again right now, just so everybody has it. If they want to go check out any of the links, but yeah, tell us something that's how to find you, social media links, all that good stuff.
You can find me as Dusty Haze on Facebook. Honestly, that's about all I use. You can find my Instagram link through my Facebook. It's all right there in the info. Uh, Unfortunately, all the music is exclusively on BandLab right now because a lot of like I said, a lot of my material isn't legal yet. So they don't do all the flagging. It's pure art through there, so they don't care about monetization and all that crap. So full catalog, BandLab. Outside of that, we'll be on Spotify here in a month or two.
And
We just got to take everything right.
do you have a way for other people to come to you, like a Patreon or Cash App or Venmo, if they wanted to like support you, or is that all on your website and stuff like that?
Let me should have already had this ready,
No,
Dusty.
no, it's okay, Dusty. I just asked out of nowhere because you didn't mention maybe some way to, buy something or a sticker from you or something. They may want to support in some way,
My
as people want to do with me. So
my Cash App is money sign Dustin Fields Fisher.
cool. Put that in the comment down below. And with that, my friends, Dusty, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I hope you had fun with me today.
Yes, sir. It's always a pleasure. I ain't talked to you in a minute, G.
I definitely had a blast, man. So thank you very much for coming on, and we'll see you soon. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Okay, I can't, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Episode 27, just like all the other episodes, absolutely amazing. I feel like I'm really like getting into this thing. I had my friend Jody call me and give me some amazing, critiques on what I should do to make this better. And I'm hoping that I can do that with you guys. By all means, send me messages. Tell me how to make this look better, feel better, without it being too big, because I don't want it to be that. I want it to be like a cell phone conversation. I feel that that's the thing. And with that, if you would not, my friends, please go out of the world, do something nice for somebody else. And if you can't, do something nice for yourself. It does start with you. Number two, don't get caught up in all the crazy things, because if you do, then you're, it's not good. And number three, if you would not mind, please like, share, subscribe. Send this out to somebody who'd like to see it. My friends, thank you. I love you. And I really do, man. I will see you all on the other side.